It's your under degrees. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling his tea, spilling and sipping his tea, spilling and sipping his tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping 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 this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling 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 and sipping this tea. It's your under degrees. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea.
Let's go.
Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling 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 and sipping this tea.
Yeah. Let's go.
Hmm. you'll learn the degrees. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling his tea, spilling and sipping his tea, spilling and sipping his tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's Yolanda degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait. So sip this tea, sip this tea, spilling this tea.
Get in here now.
Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling this tea, spilling this tea, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's Yolanda degree, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling 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 and sipping this tea.
Y'all ready for a lit live? Let's go, Diamond Gang. What's up, Diamond Gang? Did you miss me? I was supposed to go live yesterday, but of course, I waited until Trump addressed the union. And guess what, Diamond Gang? He ain't say nothing. So I could have went live. He said literally nothing. So we're going to get into a couple of things. You know, Pam Bondi got fired. They said she was crying. I told you guys she was next. After Bondi, Patel was next. Mark my words. Patel is next. All right. So we're going to get into a little bit of what Trump said when he addressed the union. We're going to get Pam Bondi will be at the end of this live stream. All right. Let me take a look. Let me see who's in the chat. Hey, you said you look like you've been in to steal some what? Some you funny, Nathan. Real funny. All right, without further ado, let me bring up my screen so we could get into what's going on. I apologize. I rescheduled my live. I wanted to listen to what Trump had to say, and he said he didn't say nothing. He didn't say anything worth me waiting. So I could have went live. But let's get into these war updates, y'all. Let's go.
Is that he's told before about facts of the matter that Barack Obama gave the Iranians billions of dollars. He didn't. It was repatriated assets that had been seized by the United States pursuant to that negotiated deal, that Iran was on.
Do me a favor, Diamond Gang. Double tap that like. Double tap that like for your girl.
The doorstep of a nuclear weapon. There's literally no one who says they were. In fact, he himself said that the program had been obliterated, that there was a desire perhaps to rebuild it, but there was no doorstep that it was on. He said that 45,000 Iranians had been killed by the regime in the latest round of protests. That is an estimate that I have heard nowhere. The highest estimate I've heard is 35,000. That is contested, very difficult to ascertain. There were many, many people killed by this regime, but 45,000 is...
So, you know, Trump got up there last night and told the same old lies. It was lackluster. It was dry. Let's go.
Past even the most aggressive estimates I've seen about that. He then basically said what he has been saying, that the objectives have been accomplished, that they have been decimated.
Diamond Gang, we're going to take it back to the beginning, to what they said. Hey, what's up, EJ Nurse 59? What's up, baby? Yeah, we're going to take it back to his original plan.
That they will continue to pursue for 2 or 3 weeks, that they didn't seek regime change, but the regime has changed, that if there are no negotiations, the United States will send Iran as a country, meaning it's 90 million people, back to the Stone Age where they belong, and will commence, if in the absence of negotiations, bombing electric plants, which would be a war crime. Those are civilian infrastructure, and oil installments, which he said they have not done. 2 to 3 weeks was the timeline he gave for that. He reminded everyone with a very long litany of other wars the U.S. had been involved in, including World War II, where I think the reasons and objectives of that war were pretty clear, that they were longer than the 33 days that have this war. He also...
Listen, Trump is talking about if we need to go back, that's what we'll do. But at the end of the day, he did not accomplish none of the objectives that he set out to. He didn't get the uranium. There is no regime change. And he did not destroy their Navy, their military base. He didn't destroy. He didn't. And then he's telling NATO he wants to separate ties with our allies because no one wants to help him.
Reiterated, we should say, what has become the line from the White House about the Strait of Hormuz, that is to say that the U.S. doesn't have any interest into it, gets no oil imported via that.
He's telling everybody, go get your own oil because we won't be there. So he's going to walk away, Diamond Gang, without the straits being open. He said he don't care.
Strait, and that the countries that are suffering because of its closure will just have to go in there and take it, is what he told them. Take it, he instructed them. He also said that it will open up naturally when the war ends, very similar to what he said about COVID going away naturally back in 2020.
I listened very carefully, Lindsay, for something new about his plans for ending this war, some new indication about the direct.
Listen, Diamond Gang, Iran said what they said. They're not backing down.
Direction that he was going. I have to tell you candidly, there was nothing new in that speech. These are all points that he has made either in his Truth Social posts or in his many appearances over the past 4 weeks. He had said earlier today that he was going to give a speech.
Listen, gang, he got so mad yesterday. So mad yesterday. He walked out of the birthrights meeting that they had. He was acting a fool, and I got it all.
Where he would say, this is actually a quote from something he did earlier today. He said, basically, I'm going to tell everybody how great I am, what a great job I've done, what a phenomenal job. There was quite a bit of that talking about the great.
He's going to go down in history for this. I don't know what he's seeing, but he's going to go down in history for this.
Success, as he sees it, of the U.S. military. I thought that what was striking is how little he talked about something that he has mentioned, and he's mentioned directly to me several times, the negotiations with the Iranians. It was almost an afterthought. He talked about how we are sending them back to the Stone Ages, bombing them back to the Stone Ages, and then the very next sentence is, but we continue to have negotiations.
That part right there. How are you negotiating with someone that you are consistently threatening? How? It's not happening. Listen, Diamond Gang, I need y'all to please and thank you, hit the likes. I'm not asking you for a Cash App, a super chat, a super sticker, Diamond Gang. Just a simple like. That's all. That's it. That's all. Thank you.
I didn't get a sense that there's a lot of optimism expressed in that speech about an agreement with the Iranians. Really what it was is saying that we are wrapping this up very soon. We're going to fully finish our objectives, and if
we're not finishing our objectives, we're not. We don't have the uranium. There is no regime change.
Don't agree to what they need to agree in, we are going to bomb them even harder.
The president just wrapping up a news conference where he touted how well the United States is doing, according to him, in Iran, saying Iran and the war in Iran was needed because he said, quote, Iran was closer to getting nuclear weapons than.
Listen, with Iran, it's not about how many bombs you can drop, how much you can blow up. Iran wanted to hurt us globally. They are literally globally affecting everyone. That was the biggest trump card I've ever seen.
Most experts believed. About 11 minutes into the speech, he acknowledged the 13 service members who've died so far. But when it came to the Strait of Hormuz, which you've heard so much about because 20% of the global oil travels through there, he said, quote, we don't need it. He says the United States produces more oil than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. As for the other.
Diamond Gang, this man is trying to kick NATO to the curb. To the curb.
Countries that have been impacted, his advice to them was that they should take it, being the oil, and protect it. We don't know how much longer this is going to last, but the president said it could be 2 to 3 weeks. That is the latest in terms of the big update tonight as he held this news conference on a historic day. As many of you guys were probably watching, Artemis II launched, and so far so good. But that's the very latest from the president.
The operation was again launched with clear.
Diamond Gang, listen up. This was our objectives going in. Listen, y'all.
Clear military objectives designed to dismantle Iran's ability to project power outside of its borders, both today and in the future. First, we are targeting and eliminating Iran's ballistic missile systems to prevent them from threatening the U.S. Forces, partners, and interests in the region. Second, we are destroying the Iranian Navy, degrading its capacity, capability, and ability to conduct operations, not just in the Central Command AOR, but as.
You said Trump MAGA rules. That's okay. If that's how you feel, just don't. You can have listen, you're entitled to feel however you want. Please do. Oh, thank you, Nurse 59. Just don't spam the chat. You can have an opposing opinion. Put your opinions in the chat. If it's opposing, you just can't curse or be disrespectful. Thanks, gang.
The secretary showed in the video around the world. Third, we're ensuring Iran cannot rapidly rebuild or reconstitute its combat capability or combat power, and those phases will begin as the campaign continues.
I spoke briefly with President Trump this morning to get a preview of his big speech tonight.
Listen, he spoke to this guy right before he was supposed to go on. Pay attention to what he told this guy.
Said that he hopes he'll be able to wrap up the Iran war pretty quickly. He wouldn't give a timeline, but he said the United States can return and do spot hits as necessary. He said he wasn't worried about the enriched uranium that Iran still holds. He said that
bingo. So now all of a sudden, Diamond Gang, he's not worried about the enriched uranium. He's not worried about it now. Boy, oh boy, that was supposed to be one of our missions, but okay.
Iran is in no condition to develop a nuclear weapon. He said,
Diamond Gang, they said they wasn't giving us nothing. They said if they need to use it for themselves, to protect themselves and to fight back, they will use that uranium. That is what they said. Diamond Gang, come on. I got over 300 people in the room. Can you please hit the like? Please. Thank you.
Said he would express disgust at NATO for not helping open the Strait of Hormuz. And he said he is absolutely considering withdrawing from the treaty organization. I also asked the president about.
Do you guys know how long we had that treaty? Let me tell you something. I would totally be on Trump's side had he would have consulted with our allies prior to listening to Bibi and bombing Iran. Okay? I would have been clearly on his side at that point, but he didn't.
about Tiger Woods, who's seeking treatment for these problems he has. He said it's a good thing he's getting treatment and that Tiger is a good guy.
President Trump seemingly moving the goalpost yet again when it comes to ending the war in Iran, saying on True Social that the Iranian regime had asked for a ceasefire, something
that was debunked. They said they never asked us for a ceasefire. They said they are waiting to set us ablaze when we touch down.
That President Trump said he would only consider if they reopened the Strait of Hormuz. Now, we should first note that Iranian officials have already said that they did not ask for a ceasefire. But when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, we were told that this was not an endgame objective.
We'll be leaving very soon.
Listen, Diamond Gang, Iran has been planning for this for over 40 years, 47 years. They are not playing checkers. They are playing chess.
What happens to the strait, we're not going to have anything to do with.
Administration officials had been discussing this idea that promising to reopen the Strait of Hormuz as a prerequisite to end the Iranian war was something that wasn't going to work, particularly given the timeline. And we've heard these administration officials focus on other military objectives, destroying the Air Force, destroying the Navy, destroying missile launchers. This is all coming as President Trump is set to deliver remarks to the nation at 9 p.m. And it is still unclear what he's going to say. But
we've depleted all types of ammunition, and Iran is being helped by Russia.
Thing is clear. There is a lot of concern within this administration about the political ramifications of this war.
I think it's very clear from what we're seeing that Trump probably at the moment is looking for an off-ramp, and there is not an obvious one. So what is Trump to do? He basically has two choices, and we can't presume, by the way, that the latter of these that I'm about to say is off the table. The first is doing what he's doing, which...
But I'm going to tell you, Diamond Gang, we're not out the neck of the woods. Because he's so erratic, he could wake up tomorrow and decide to put troops on the ground.
He's doing in a very Trumpian way, simply lie, declare victory where none exists. Who knows whether he believes it or not, but declare victory where none exists.
At this point, I don't care if he puts it in his head that we have a victory. Just bring them boys and those men and women home. Get us up out of there. So I don't care if it's in his head or not.
The second is to roll the dice again and intensify the military operation, intensify the war, i.e. seize Hague Island. It appears from this tweet, it does all this, Truth Social, that it is part of a pattern, which is Trump, as I say, looking for that off-ramp. But let's be very, very, very clear. What it seems to me is happening here. If it is option one, and he basically says, right, that's victory, we're pulling out, we've achieved everything we achieved, we're off. What he will have done is reverse Colin Powell's famous dictum. He said that if you break it, you own it. Trump is reversing that by going, we break it, you own it, to Europe, i.e.
And yesterday's Truth Social.
That part. And everyone is so upset because he's basically telling people, go get your own oil. Had he not have done this, things wouldn't even be the way that it is. So he's basically saying, yeah, I went in, I caused the problem. Now you guys fix it because you didn't want to help me.
So, indeed, he's basically saying, right, we've gone in, we've caused geopolitical havoc. The straits are basically now closed, but we're not so bothered about the straits. European powers, you can pick up the pieces. And that, of course, leaves in its way chaos, and it leaves American political alliances shattered.
And you know who's got the number of Donald Trump and America right now? It's the Iranians. These videos that the Iranians are making, they understand Donald Trump and his weak
These videos is driving him crazy.
Points. They understand America's weak points. I know that there's a whole machine producing them and that they are being amplified online by the Russians and by the Chinese. People who in
Bingo, Russia and China. Let's go.
Washington dismissed as the mullahs in the desert are producing something this sophisticated has to make you rethink their intelligence understanding and their psychoanalysis of Donald Trump and the leadership of this war and where America is right now, because I think they've got his number and they're doing it in a way that I would not have.
You know that they believe that Bibi got something on him in regards to the Epstein files. Yeah, basically, we pledged allegiance to Israel.
Expected from them. Worth all of you watching because they are a good window into.
Meanwhile, Israel is not putting their troops on the ground. If it comes to that, Israel already said our troops will not be there.
The Iranian psychology and the Iranian communications.
Who's winning right now?
Reuters has a story that says that the US can only confirm with certainty that it's only destroyed a third of Iran's missile arsenal. So
did you hear that? They only destroyed a third. I need y'all to please hit the like. I got almost 400 people in the room. Can you please hit the like? You don't have to send me a Cash App, a super chat, a super sticker. Just a like. Diamond Gang. That's it. Get me to 100 likes. I got 3 times that in here. Let's go.
Far. So even on that ground of how much we've destroyed, there are questions about that at the moment. But I don't see how you can make the case that America is in a better position than it was before February the 28th. In fact, it's in a worse position because we're sort of in the same position. They've got fewer missiles, but we've got the Straits of Hormuz shut, and the American economy is about to face a whole load of damage. The world economy is about to face a whole load of damage coming from that. I think you have to say.
So guess what, Diamond Gang? We are nowhere. We accomplished nothing. And guess who's going to pay for it? Us. We are going to pay for it. We're getting ready to be in a serious recession.
It's asymmetric, and they're with a very bad hand. They're playing an extraordinary asymmetric war, and right now the Iranians are winning.
So this just in, U.S. intelligence agencies have assessed that Iran has no interest in negotiating with the United States in the war because they believe that they're in a strong position and don't have to accept the United States' demands. This is according to new reports.
Now, Diamond Gang, don't get me wrong. Iran is asking for way too damn much, way too much. But they are in a position to say, nah, we're not taking your offer either.
Reporting just out from the New York Times, the report says that Iran is willing to keep communication channels open, but it doesn't trust the United States and frankly doesn't think Trump is serious about diplomacy. I wonder where they got that idea. And here's why this matters. Well, Trump told reporters just this week that the war would be wrapped up in 2 to 3 weeks. But if Iran decides that it doesn't need to make a deal, that timeline really isn't up to him. And it gets more complicated because, as you know, Trump posted on social media earlier today that Iran had asked for a ceasefire. Iran's foreign ministry.
That part, when he does that, that doesn't do anything but amp them up even more. He got to stop the lies. He has to.
Came out and called that claim false and baseless, as did Iran's Speaker of Parliament. And Trump keeps making up these fake claims that Iran is begging for a deal. So right now, Trump is telling the public one thing, lying, and his own intelligence agencies are telling him something very different behind closed doors. And Trump's constant lies, making up fake ceasefire requests, claiming conversations are going great, they are only making Iran feel more emboldened because it...
Bingo, I just said that. Hit the like, Diamond Gang. For the ones that's in the chat, how do you guys feel, the ones that are still supporting Trump, that he is lying? Put it in the chat. How do you feel? Just don't curse. Let's go.
Exposes his desperation and Trump's threats, like this morning when he said the U.S. will blow Iran back to the Stone Ages. Those are only making conversations more unlikely to occur.
Bingo. This is what I'm saying. He's telling us, oh, it's going so well that I'm able to get on the mic and threaten them. No.
We're going to keep following this and more. Spread the word and listen to the Midas Touch podcast for more.
Good afternoon. It is Wednesday, April 1st, 2026, and it is around 3:15 p.m. East Coast time. I wanted to give you the highlights of this article from Al Jazeera English detailing what is going on in Iran on day 33 of this war. I think it's very, very important to see what we...
Diamond Gang, listen up. This is my girl right here. I listen to her on a daily basis.
The United States and Israel are doing to the people of Iran. And so I am going to report it. And then this is probably going to get censored. But this is their reporting if you would like to stay and listen, because I know not everyone has a chance to read. So these strikes are ongoing. U.S. and Israeli airstrikes continue across the country, targeting industrial and civilian sites, including steel plants, pharmaceutical facilities, port infrastructure, meteor virology facilities and a residential complex, according to Iranian state media and the Iranian Red Crescent Society. Iranian media have reported.
And that's sad when we have to go to the opposite side to get the truth. Someone said in my chat the other day that, oh, you believe them. Well, I can't believe Trump because he keeps lying. Like, what?
Reported explosions in at least 6 major cities throughout the country. The pharmaceutical facility that was hit in Tehran, it is reported by Iranian officials that the U.S. Israeli forces bombed the Tofi Daru pharmaceutical raw material unit in Tehran, which has then destroyed its research and development department and has dealt a, quote, blow to the national medical supply chain.
This is one of the reasons why they're targeting our universities and things like that.
The passenger pier was bombed in Bandar Abbas, and Ahmad Nafisi, who is a top official in Iran's Hormozgan, I definitely butchered that, Hormozgan province, said that enemy fighter jets bombed the passenger pier in the city of Bandar Abbas on Wednesday. He condemned the, quote, criminal attack on civilian infrastructure and said no one was thankfully killed or wounded. The desalinization plant that was hit is...
These are war crimes. These are war crimes.
Located on Keshem Island in the Strait of Hormuz and was knocked out by strikes and is now out of service, according to Iranian media. Iran's diplomatic stance right now is Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi told Al Jazeera that messages have been exchanged with Washington and U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, but there are no
They don't trust Witkoff. They said this multiple times. They don't.
Negotiations, and Tehran has, quote, zero trust in the United States. They're also explaining that it is not easy for Trump to walk away from this war. Analyst Tritia Parsi said it was unlikely the war will end quickly or the Strait of Hormuz will open soon, adding Iran will likely continue to control and attack the waterway, and that it is, quote, not as easy for Trump to just walk out of this conflict. Additionally, there is a rising death toll in Iran, with more than 2,000 Iranians having been killed and thousands of civilian sites, including hospitals, schools, universities, and pharmaceutical factories that have been...
Let me ask the question for the ones that's in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you believe that Trump is going to walk away. Just as he said, I'm going to walk away. I don't care if the straits is open. Put a 2 in the chat if you still believe that he's going to try to seize Carg Island. Put a 2 in the chat for me.
Attacked by Israel and the U.S. Targeting of civilian sites is, yes, considered a war crime. We are the bad guys. Israel is the bad guy. We are collectively just...
We don't have Israel. We can't contain Israel. Let me put it that way. They're doing what they want to do. And then they're lying on us and saying, oh, okay, we got the approval. No.
Destroying a nation just because this is in many ways a genocide. So the more you know, make sure you spread this, maybe download this because I'm sure it will be taken down, but follow if you would like updates in the coming hours and days.
I was on the phone with a senior Iranian official, and I asked him about this. He was laughing and said President Trump is trying to get any kind of stances here and try to translate them into what fits him. He wants a ceasefire, and the issue is that the Iranians haven't...
Listen, Diamond Gang, you know their president addressed the U.S. with a letter yesterday, and we're going to go over that letter, okay? Hit the like for me, y'all. Hit the like, please.
Asked for anything like this. Abbas Araghchi told yesterday, our bureau chief here in Tehran, the same issue. We're not looking for a ceasefire. He was completely clear. There is no talks going on. And whatever is happening currently is just messaging, and this messaging is going through several channels. The ones who are in charge of diplomacy are mainly the Foreign Ministry and the Supreme National Security Council. The president hasn't been in the loop. Yes, he is.
Bingo. That's him. That is their president on the screen. That is the one that wrote the open letter to us. Okay.
the president, he takes decisions, but he is not the central person when it comes to deciding on these issues, because these issues should be decided by the Supreme National Security Council, and then it goes to the Supreme Leader, Mustafa Khamenei, who is...
So they basically said their president don't run the show.
Clearly taking his responsibility and calling the shots, giving the harmony we are seeing within the different layers of the system.
Stop believing Trump's posts, media. Stop it. I can't believe we are weeks into this war and more than a year into this presidency, and the media continues to amplify Donald Trump's claims as if they are true. Earlier today, Donald Trump made another fake claim that there's a ceasefire in the works. The only issue, this is not true at all. Let me explain. First, I'll read the tweet or the post on Truth Social. Donald Trump said, Iran's new regime president, much less radicalized and far more intelligent.
It's sad, you know, when your own ego and pride, that you get up here and you lie. Like, that's crazy.
Than his predecessors, has just asked the United States of America for a ceasefire. We will consider when Hormuz Strait is open, free, and clear. Until then, we are blasting Iran into oblivion, as they say, back to the Stone Ages. President DJT. First red flag, there is no new regime president. It's literally these.
Bingo, I told you. He keeps trying to say that there has been a regime change. That is a lie. That is a lie.
Same exact president who was there before the war. And the Iranian president doesn't really have much power. He's really nothing more than a figurehead.
Bingo, that guy just said it. Their president has no power to put any type of peace negotiations together. So he's talking to the wrong man.
The Ayatollah is the one who has power, and the current Ayatollah is just the son of the previous Ayatollah. And as someone who's been following the news closely and tracking all of the statements from the United States and the Iranian regime, I knew exactly where Trump was getting this. From Twitter and from the Newswire, there was this post that went out on the wire yesterday that said, Iran's President Pezeshkian, we're ready to end war.
Look, he's looking at fake news and reporting it back to us. This is where Trump got it from. Y'all, this is where he got it from. I told y'all last week, they are literally showing Trump 2-minute clips of us blowing things up. He is not well informed at all. I need y'all to hit the like, please, y'all. Hit the like.
But want guarantees. And so there were a lot of people who were like, oh, look, Iran wants to end the war. They must want a ceasefire. Wrong. First off, those comments were taken out of context. He had said that any decision to end the war with the United States and Israel must, quote, guarantee the security and interests of the Iranian people, not that he was looking for a ceasefire. And he had stated that any end of the war would have to come with essential guarantees.
Shouts out to my partner in crime, Meek Cruz. What's up, Meek?
To prevent the recurrence of aggression. And there is nothing new about his statements here. He has been saying this now for weeks. Like, look at this tweet from a few weeks ago, from March 11th, 2020.
Look at this tweet right here. Talking to leaders of Russia and Pakistan, I reaffirm Iran's commitment to peace. Why is he? This is crazy.
Where he said, talking to leaders of Russia and Pakistan, I reaffirmed Iran's commitment to peace in the region. The only way to end this war, ignited by the Zionist regime in U.S., is recognizing Iran's legitimate rights, payment of reparations, and firm international guarantees against future aggression. It's the same thing. And so then, like clockwork, Iran's foreign ministry issued a statement responding to Trump's claims, saying President Trump's claims that Iran requested a ceasefire are false and baseless. MB Ghalibaf, Iran's Speaker of Parliament.
So every time he screams this, they scream this. They catch him in a lie and put out their statements. This is not true.
Said out of context quotes plus manufactured FOMO equals war profiteering 101. Do your own research. You know, I think this is why independent media continues to grow, because we don't take Donald Trump's statements as facts. We don't accept this BS framing. So if you want to stick with us, spread the word, follow along, listen to the Midas Touch podcast for more.
Hey guys, we have some major breaking news. Iran's president has...
Let me stop. Joe said, that's the trouble with anything today. We never get the truth. That's a fact. And we deserve the truth. We do. Let's go. Now we're going to get into what Iran's president said.
now directly addressed the American people in an open letter challenging President Donald Trump's foreign policy as the war stretches into another month. According to the letter, the Iranian president accused the Trump administration of pushing, in his words, distortions and manufactured narratives about the conflict. He asked the American people whether America first is really being served by war that, he says has brought mass death.
That part right there.
Destroyed infrastructure and disrupted global energy supplies. The letter was released just hours before Trump is supposed to be, addressing the nation.
Diamond Gang, that may have been why he was so down and lackluster, because the president of Iran was supposed to release it after Trump. He released it right before that man got up there on that stage. I said, boy, the strategy is crazy.
And it comes as the conflict has now passed the 30-day mark. The Iranian president also referenced Trump's public comments about possible ceasefire talks while contrasting those remarks with threats of continued U.S. military action until the Strait of Hormuz.
That right there is crazy work when you claim that we're having peace talks, but in the same breath, you threatening me. Like, what? Who could trust that? Like, what?
Is, as Trump put it, open, free, and clear. So in the letter, the Iranian president claimed that the war is not serving the American people, but instead deepening instability, driving up economic costs, and damaging the United States' global standing. He also argued that the attacks on Iran's energy and industrial infrastructure are hurting civilians and could have consequences far beyond Iran's border.
A war crime. Let's go, Diamond Gang. Now we're going to hear someone else's perspective, okay? Let's go.
Right, breaking news here. The president of Iran sends a very unusual and open letter to the American people just before President Trump is supposed to speak. Now, just because I'm showing you this doesn't mean that I support any other country's government. I support God-given individual liberties wherever they may be. But some of these points that are brought up, I think the American people need to listen to, and the questions that he's asking.
Iran's president has just released a very lengthy open letter to the American people ahead of Trump's speech tonight, and it is a direct attempt to shape how Americans are seeing this war. In the letter, he claims that Iran has, quote, never initiated a war in modern history, and says the country is being falsely portrayed as a threat for political and economic reasons. He points directly at the United States, arguing that the massive U.S. military presence around Iran is what is actually destabilizing the region, not Iran itself. He also goes back to history, calling out the 1953 U.S.-backed coup in Iran, support for the Shah, and backing Saddam Hussein as the root of deep distrust between the two countries. He uses Trump's own words against him and asks the following, quote, exactly which of...
Diamond Gang, I don't care what y'all say. This was pure strategic. He did this so strategically. Trump was all the way off last night. Let's go.
The American people's interests are truly being served by this war? Was there any objective threat from Iran to justify such behavior? Does the massacre of innocent children, the destruction of cancer treatment pharmaceutical facilities, or boasting about bombing a country, quote, backed?
Not only that, he had a bad day anyway because of he actually got up and left in regards to birthrights. Let's go.
To the Stone Ages serve any purpose other than further damaging the United States' global standing. The letter says that Iran pursued diplomacy, reached agreements, and notes that it was the United States that withdrew and escalated tensions, launching attacks during the negotiations. And here's one of the...
I told y'all we was in the sixth round. I'm going to keep saying it. 6 rounds of negotiation. But Trump listened to Bibi and they struck.
Most striking warnings in the letter. He says, quote, attacking Iran's vital infrastructure, including energy and industrial facilities, directly targets the Iranian people. Such actions carry consequences that extend.
Diamond Gang, let me ask you a question. How do you guys feel that if it escalates to ground operations, that Israel is not putting their troops on the ground? How do y'all feel about that?
Far beyond Iran's borders. He goes on to argue those consequences would mean greater instability, higher economic costs, and long-term resentment. The letter also accuses the U.S. of acting as a proxy for Israel, saying that Israel is pushing America into war to serve its own
Bingo, Bibi with his lies.
interests. And then it asks a direct question to Americans. Whose interests is this war really serving? Is America first truly among the priorities of the U.S. government today? He asks. He says, quote, observe the many accomplished Iranian immigrants educated in Iran who now teach and conduct research at the world's most prestigious universities or contribute to the most advanced technology firms in the West. Do these realities align with the distortions you are being told about Iran and its people? He ends by urging Americans to look past what he calls the machinery of misinformation and says the world is now at a crossroads. The bottom line, this is Iran making its case directly to the American public.
He addressed us better than Trump. The president of Iran addressed us better than Trump did last night, y'all.
Just hours before Trump addresses the nation.
I'd love to know your thoughts below.
Iran is emerging as a new...
Peep this. Peep this. This is a good one because Iran is coming up. New world power status. And he's going to break it down and tell you guys why. The oil. Let's go.
Global center of power. So let me just explain this a moment. So before the war, 33 days ago, there were 3 centers of world power we discussed. The U.S., Russia, and China. Now, why was Russia even in that mix? Because it had 11% of the world's oil. And of course, it uses that for military purposes. Well, Iran now has double that.
Bingo. Y'all listening? Hit the like. Hit the like. Give me to 100 likes. I'm at 49 likes. I need 60 more. I mean, not 60 more. What am I thinking about? 51. Give me 51 more likes. Come on, let's go, Diamond Gang. Get me to 100. Get me to 100.
Amount of world oil, more than any other country on the planet. And what that's going to mean are $100 billion a year more to put into military. That nuclear enrichment is now more likely than ever to become nuclear weapons. And over time, as the months and the years go on, which I know we're having a hard time coming to grips with the reality that's occurred here, is that this is going to create a new center of world power and dwarf Israel. This, as you can see right away, for all of our lifetimes, oil has been so critical. And it's not just oil, of course, it's gas, it's the energy, it's the fertilizer. This is what Iran has now as a chokehold on the world.
Bingo. I told you guys, I said they have the whole world in a chokehold right now. I told you guys that. I'm telling you, they're playing chess, not checkers.
World, but it's 20%. And there's no way you're going to make up for that in the next 3 or 4 years. Even if you start drilling now, it will take that long. So Iran is coming out of this, and we've never seen this in our lifetimes, a new world power center created in a month.
We have some
boom, that oil. Let's go.
Major news. A number of world leaders have come out, and
now we're getting ready to get into Trump saying that he wants to sever ties with NATO. Let's go, Diamond Gang. Hit the like, hit the like. Thank you, gang. Hit the like. Give me 45 more, 45 more. Let's go.
Warned about what's to come next in the Iran war, with multiple of them saying that the information they have keeps them awake at night. That is certainly not something you ever want to hear. The South Korean president said the world is in turmoil over the energy crisis. The situation is so serious that it is even keeping me up at night. The immediate problem is grave enough, but the outlook ahead seems even more unstable. The situation is worse than expected. Italy's defense minister said, I am forced to know things about what could happen in the coming week and the effects it will have on the economy and our daily lives.
Hold on, Diamond Gang. Hold on. Video slowing down. I hope I ain't having issues. Hold on. Uh-oh. Let me take it back a little bit.
To the American public.
Okay.
Just
the
hours.
Okay. Okay.
Long. So Iran is coming out of this. And we've never seen this in our lifetimes. A new world power center created in a month.
We have some major news. A number of world leaders have come out and warned about what's to come next in the Iran war, with multiple of them saying that the information they have keeps them awake at night. That is certainly not something you ever want to hear. The South Korean president said the world is in turmoil over the energy crisis. The situation is
So Diamond Gang, I told y'all it's going to get worse. It's not getting any better. It's going to get worse.
serious that it has even kept me up at night. The immediate problem is grave enough, but the outlook ahead seems even more unstable. The situation is worse than expected. Italy's defense minister said, I am forced to know things about what could happen in the coming week and the effects it will have on the economy and our daily lives that no longer.
Oh, stuff. I don't know. Hold on. Let me pause it. This video might be acting up, y'all. Try to take it back again. Or let me fast forward it and see if it'll go. Nope. Let me take it back. Oh boy, Diamond Gang, hold on. Let me take a look. The play button. We might go. Here we go.
Done.
Let me take it back.
In a
Let me
month?
take it back.
We have some major news. A number of world leaders have come out and warned about what's to come next in the Iran war, with multiple of them saying that the information they have keeps them awake at night.
Right,
that is certainly not something you ever want to hear. The South Korean president said the world is in turmoil over the energy crisis. The situation is so serious that it has even kept me up at night. The immediate problem is grave enough, but the outlook ahead seems even more unstable. The situation is worse than expected. Italy's defense minister said, I am forced to know things about what could happen in the coming week and the effects it will have on the economy and our daily lives that no longer allows me to sleep. So multiple leaders in different countries, in different positions of power, all saying the same thing, that things are about to get worse and it keeps them up at night. And you can thank Donald Trump.
I told y'all, get ready, spend wisely. Let's go.
For putting us in this situation.
We didn't even make any attempt to argue that the Iranians had done something militarily to precipitate our attack on Iran. There's no provocation here. We just decided we were going to go out and
bingo. We still don't have the truth. We have the truth. We know that it was a lie. You know what I mean? But they have yet to come out and say that it was a lie.
We were going to whack the Iranians, both last June and again this time. Furthermore, both the Israelis and the Americans are running around the world assassinating leaders.
It's Israel. That's why we don't have anyone to negotiate with now. I told you guys the other day. They had the foreign minister on a hit list. America had to tell Israel to stand down. If you don't stand down, we won't be able to negotiate with anybody. Crazy. Let's go.
Not something that the United States engaged in large part, or certainly in an overt way in the past. And here we are. And furthermore, there's the Gaza genocide, right? The Israelis, here's an apartheid state executing a genocide in Gaza, and we're complicitous in that genocide. If there were Nuremberg trials, right, where the Israelis and the Americans were brought before the court, President Trump, along with President Netanyahu and many of their advisors, would be hanged.
Bingo. And that's a fact. We are committing war crimes.
Right? This is a genocide, is it not? It is a genocide. What did we do in 1945 with those Germans who executed a genocide in Europe and who were not only accused of executing a genocide, but those German leaders were accused of launching a war of aggression? It bears remarkable resemblance to what we and the Israelis have now twice done.
So do you guys see why Iran don't trust us? They don't trust us at all. How are you negotiating and you're in the 6th round of negotiations and boom, you get hit? This is why. This is why they're reluctant to do a ceasefire with us right now.
Against Iran.
We know that they're trying to push through $200 billion for a war that Donald Trump campaigned on never getting into. Can I have your reaction to
Listen, at first I was like $200 billion. They out their minds. We have so many problems here. But guess what? We are running out of artillery.
the massive amount of money and the massive amount of sacrifice that it would take to actually get this funding passed?
I think we're seeing the fact that in the face of Americans facing a historic affordability crisis, that we have the pursuit of something that has already cost $23 billion thus far, the kind of money that could transform working class Americans' lives, whether through investments in Medicare or teachers or even elimination of student debt for tens of thousands.
I don't know why he thought he was going to go to Congress and get it. It's a hard no for them.
Thousands of Americans, and all of that being thrown aside for the pursuit of yet another regime change war. And it's a war that should be opposed on every single ground, not just procedural, but also moral, but also political, and also a war that...
For everybody in the chat, you guys know, if you're trying to change a regime, you guys know that it is not, it takes longer than 4 to 6 weeks. These people have been living like this for many, many, many years. I don't know why Trump thought he was going to go in there, demand a regime change in 4 to 6 weeks. This is how you get caught up in forever wars. I'm just saying. Hit the like, Diamond Gang. I need 40 more.
Should be opposed on the grounds of the fact that it is being financed by the very money that could make it easier to keep calling this city, this country home. And yet there is a blindness to that fact, all while we're being told that this is not what we're seeing with our own eyes. Like, I may be a young mayor, but I'm old enough to have remembered the disastrous consequences of regime change wars. And that's exactly what we're seeing in this. And
so bingo, as soon as he said that, we should have known right there. When he was demanding the regime change, we should have known.
The pursuit of this war is one that is not just using money that could be used elsewhere. It's also driving up prices across the city and across this country. And that's making it harder for working class Americans to live their day-to-day lives and meet their day-to-day needs.
So here in Doha, we just read the latest Truth Social post from the president where he says that he's talking to the new president of the Iranian regime. He says that person has asked for a ceasefire, which the president...
Bingo, he said the new president. He's always been the president. That's a lie. Oh, boy. And he has no power, again, for anybody that's just coming in. He has no power.
The president says he will consider if the Strait of Hormuz is open up and free of passage. Let's just unpack this on a couple of different levels. So for starters, there is no new president of Iran. If President...
Bingo, there you go, right there. There is no new president. Why does man keep lying?
President Trump is in fact talking about the president of Iran. The same president of Iran today was the president of Iran before this war started. Also, the Iranian regime, or what's left of it, is very fragmented, and it's not clear that the Iranian president would be speaking on behalf of all the other powerful factions within Iran.
So this is who Trump is talking to, y'all. Yeah. Hit the like for your girl.
Namely, I'm thinking of the Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps, really the heart of Iran's military and the one putting up this resistance against the United States and Israel. And to that end, the Fars news agency, which is an Iranian news agency affiliated with the IRGC, just minutes after that Truth Social post, they put out a statement from the IRGC saying that the Strait of Hormuz remains closed and under the control of the IRGC Navy, and it wouldn't be reopened because of the words or actions of a U.S. president. And finally, it was just yesterday that the president seemed to suggest that the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz might not be a prerequisite for any ceasefire agreement. But now with this latest Truth Social post, he seems to say it is.
Bingo, he all over the place. So tomorrow when we wake up, it could be boots on the ground. Yeah.
Ceasefire would require the strait to be open. And so I think the takeaway from all of this is just more confusion. It's not to say that there aren't negotiations happening. Perhaps the president does feel that there are positive signs in these negotiations. Perhaps we are getting closer to a ceasefire agreement. The point is, we simply don't know. How is this war going to end, and what are the prerequisites for that to happen?
Diamond Gang, I hope this lie that he's telling is the truth.
Breaking news, war update. We got some good news and we got some bad news.
Now I'm going to give you guys the rundown of everything that happened yesterday. Let's go. 36 more likes, y'all. Please get me there.
The Israeli army says 48 Israeli officers and soldiers have been wounded in fighting in southern Lebanon over the past 24 hours. That brings us to a total of 309 officers and soldiers injured since the start of the ground operations in southern Lebanon, 23 of them in critical condition. That was the good news. Israeli Channel 12 News reported that Hezbollah launched 2 ballistic missiles toward an airbase south of Tel Aviv. One was intercepted and one made impact. Al Mayadian reports that Israeli media reported 72 Israelis were injured over the past.
These are the videos that they're not showing Donald Trump. Anything that's causing damage to Israel or any U.S. based targets, they're not showing to Trump. They're just showing Trump when Iran is bombed. 2-minute clips, y'all.
24 hours as waves of rockets and ballistic missiles from Iran and Lebanon struck multiple areas. Earlier this evening, Tel Aviv and its surroundings came under heavy and continuous fire with around 10 Iranian ballistic missiles launched within minutes during one barrage alone. The attacks were not limited to one front, with simultaneous rocket fire reported from Lebanon. Israeli media also acknowledged that Iran's capabilities remain significant.
Boom. Iran's capabilities remain significant. That meant, I thought Trump said they damn near didn't have anything left. Lies.
Warning that despite weeks of war, it continues to carry out large-scale coordinated strikes. After the beating Israel's been taking on the ground in South Lebanon, they started.
Y'all hear that? After the beating that Israel has been taking from Iran. I'm giving y'all the straight truth. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Hit the like, please, and thank you. Let's go. If you would like to support the channel, my Cash App was pinned. Oh, let me pin it. Or is it pinned? Yeah, it's pinned. If super chat, super stickers, please. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's go, y'all.
To bomb civilian infrastructure in Beirut once again. An Israeli drone struck a car in Khaldi, killing 2 people and wounding 3. This is a city that is a couple miles from Beirut. In Jneh, which is in Beirut, Israel launched a missile from a naval ship. There are 5 killed and 21 wounded. The target was senior Hezbollah commander Haj Yusuf Ismail Hashem, the man responsible for southern operations, which means the general in charge of the war in the south. Hezbollah has confirmed Hashem's death. Iran continues launching missiles to Israel, hitting buildings undeterred. It fired.
Y'all hear that? Iran is still launching missiles at Israel. Trump said he destroyed them.
Over 100 heavy missiles and drones at enemy positions. Targets included Israeli-occupied territories, U.S. bases, Tel Aviv airport, refueling tankers, and other military sites. Iran's president released a lengthy letter to the American people today, saying the citizens of America are not their enemy. It's the government who is the enemy. It went on to give the history of the Iran and U.S. relationship and how it got.
They are targeting U.S.-based facilities. Let's go.
Got to where it's at today. He then warned the United States government attacking Iran's vital infrastructure, including energy and industrial facilities, directly targets the Iranian people beyond constituting a war crime. Such actions carry consequences that extend far beyond Iran's borders. Also, Donald Trump tonight, 9 p.m., is giving a speech with an update about the Iran war. What it's about, we have no idea. So stay tuned.
It wasn't about nothing. Let's go.
For more updates.
Iran has been badly hurt, there's no doubt about it, but its will has not been broken, and it enjoys escalation dominance. In this regard, one of the most foolish things of the many foolish things that Donald Trump has done is to threaten Iranian desalination plants. These account for about 2% of our Iranian water use. The figure in Kuwait is 90%. The figure in Bahrain is 80 to 90%. The figure in Saudi Arabia is 60 to 70%. Qatar, I think, is also 90%. UAE, 60 to 70%. If you get into a fight over desalination, you're basically putting Iran, challenging Iran to end these societies. They cannot exist without water.
That part.
Breaking news.
That part right there. All right, let's go. Let's go.
To the Don Lemon Show newsroom. The war in Iran is now escalating. The president of Iran, according to Reuters is reporting that Iran's president is about to release a very important letter to the American people.
We read that letter just a minute ago, so if you're coming in, I'm sorry.
He's releasing that letter hours before Donald Trump is supposed to speak tonight to the American people at 9 p.m. Eastern. What is he going to say, Donald Trump? Who knows? What is in this letter? We don't know at this point, but we shall see very soon. But this is escalating. More details as we get them.
Iran's president has just released a very lengthy open letter
Let's get back into it real quick for the ones that's just coming in the door. Let's go.
to the American people ahead of Trump's speech tonight, and it is a direct attempt to shape how Americans are seeing this war. In the letter, he claims that Iran has, quote, never initiated a war in modern history, and says the country is being falsely portrayed as a threat for political and economic reasons. He points directly at the United States, arguing that the massive U.S. military presence around Iran is what is actually destabilizing.
Listen, Diamond Gang, when I first seen that he was writing this letter, they said he was going to read it after. But again, chess move. He read it before Trump went on. Trump's speech was so lackluster.
The region, not
He looked defeated and depleted last night.
Iran itself. He also goes back to history, calling out the 1953 U.S.-backed coup in Iran, support for the Shah, and backing Saddam Hussein as the root of deep distrust between the two countries. He uses Trump's own words against him and asks the following, quote, exactly.
Diamond Gang, I got over 400. Please hit the like. Thank you. I was going to say I got over 400 people in here. Please hit that like. Get me to 100 likes.
Which of the American people's interests are truly being served by this war? Was there any objective threat from Iran to justify such behavior? Does the massacre of innocent children, the destruction of cancer treatment pharmaceutical facilities, or boasting about bombing a country, quote, back to the Stone Ages, serve any purpose other than further damaging the United States' global standing? The letter says that Iran pursued diplomacy, reached agreements, and notes that it was the United States that withdrew and escalated tensions, launching attacks during the negotiations. And here's one of the most striking warnings in the letter. He says, quote, attacking Iran's vital infrastructure, including energy and industrial.
I don't know why Trump threatened that. That was the worst. That was the worst.
Facilities directly targets the Iranian people. Such actions carry consequences that extend far beyond Iran's borders. He goes on to argue those consequences would mean greater instability, higher economic costs, and long-term resentment. The letter also accuses the U.S. of acting as a proxy for Israel, saying that Israel is pushing America into war to serve its own interests.
Bingo. I'm going to say it again. I don't care. Israel pushing it.
And then it asks a direct question to Americans. Whose interests is this war really serving? Is America first truly among the priorities of the U.S. government?
Diamond Gang, who thinks Americans first? We're first. Put a 1 in the chat if you think Trump is like, yeah, we come first. Put a 2 in the chat if not. Let's go.
Today, he asks, he says, quote, observe the many accomplished Iranian immigrants educated in Iran who now teach and conduct research at the world's most prestigious universities or contribute to the most advanced technology firms in the West. Do these realities align with...
I got to read this comment. Somebody said Trump is a chump. Peace president. 2? What? Okay. Yeah, he definitely... We don't come first.
The distortions you are being told about Iran and its people. He ends by urging Americans to look past what he calls the machinery of misinformation and says the world is...
Diamond Gang, tonight we're going to talk about the birthright, and then we're going to get into Pam Bondi. I told you guys she was next, okay? Next up is Patel. You watch.
Now at a crossroads. The bottom line, this is Iran making its case directly to the American public just hours before Trump addresses the nation. Now,
and I'm going to say this. His letter was better than Trump's speech. Let's go.
Let me be clear. Obviously, this is Iranian propaganda, just like Trump's posts are his propaganda. And Iran has committed horrific crimes against its own people and others via proxy groups. There's no denying that. But it shows you how bad of a place that we're in right now when Iranian messaging aligns much more with the facts we're seeing in independent reporting than Trump's comments.
That part is so messed up that we got to lean towards them to get the truth. I hate that for us. I hate that for us.
Constant claims that Iran is begging for a ceasefire and about to make a deal. Spread the word. Listen to the Midas Touch podcast for more.
Iran's foreign minister has been speaking exclusively with Al Jazeera about negotiations that U.S. President Donald Trump insists are going extremely well. Abbas Araghchi has confirmed that he has received direct messages from Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff. But he also says that
that daggone name. Every time I hear Steve's name, I just like, ugh.
does not constitute actual negotiation. Arakchi added that there is zero trust for there to even be talks.
Nothing like this exists right now. Countries usually send messages to one another either directly or indirectly. This is not called negotiation, but this does exist right now. We have received messages.
Diamond Gang, remember I told you this is who they had the hit list. Israel had him on their hit list. We had to tell Israel to stand down, okay? That is Israel's objective, is to unalive all of their leaders, okay? We're not on that type of time because we want to be able to negotiate. So he was removed supposedly from the list after they killed unalived Ali. Let me apologize, unalived Ali. All right, let's go. Yeah, hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Come on, y'all, get me to 100 likes.
Messages from the U.S. Some are direct, some are through some of our regional friends. And wherever it is necessary, we reply to these messages. However, no negotiation has taken place, and the reports about that are not accurate. Discussions through messages are ongoing, and Mr. Witkoff has sent messages directly. Like I've said, this does not mean negotiation. These exchanges happen during both peace and war.
So y'all heard what he said. Now let's go.
Answered this before, and I said, we are waiting for them. I don't think they dare to do such a thing. There will be a lot of strength waiting for them.
Now this is his threat to us. He said they waiting on us. This is insane. Let's go. Hit the like, Diamond Gang. Hit the like, hit the like.
Our regional friends, and wherever it is necessary, we reply to these messages. However, no negotiation has taken place, and the reports about that are not accurate. Discussions through messages are ongoing, and Mr. Witkoff has sent messages directly. Like I've said, this does not mean negotiation. These exchanges happen during both peace and war. I've answered this before, and I said, we are waiting for them. I don't think they dare to do such a thing. There will be a lot of strength waiting for them. But we are not the ones who started this war. We defended ourselves, and we did so with strength. The casualties they've faced in their assets, to their personnel, to their radars in the region, to their aircraft. You saw what happened to their AWACS aircraft, or to their refueling tankers. We know very well how to defend ourselves. In a ground war, we can do it even better. We are completely ready to confront any sort of ground attack. We hope they do not make such a mistake.
Did you hear that? Did y'all hear that? Hit the like, Diamond Gang. So y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. Y'all hear anything else? It's a lie. Okay? They're waiting. All right, let's go.
I'm wondering if the context has now completely changed about who is winning and how we measure that.
That's true. How do you measure effectiveness, and how do you measure win? It's very difficult in this asymmetric.
And for Trump, this is what it's all about. A freaking W, a win. Let's go.
Environment. On the cost, it's true. The United States is a very rich country, and Iran is not. But Iran still was under sanctions for a long time, and figure out how to fight at a low cost.
Bingo. Now y'all remember Trump lifted the sanctions, and they were allowed to sell the oil that they had at the Straits, right? Remember? And then they turned around and said, we don't have anything to sell. But then they were strong arming ships to come through at $2 million apiece. Let's go.
And also has some shadow friends that could also feed them technology and perhaps some kind of capability. So at this, the strategic shock here is this democratization of air power. Even a country like Iran, that their air force is basically totally destroyed and have no air capability, yet still able to project air power across international lines.
The administration has handed China a gift that just keeps on giving. From the moment this
and allegedly, now we know Russia's helping, and allegedly China is too. They're helping Iran, but let's get it.
Administration took office in 2025 and started laying waste to the international order that the United States, the British, and others had created in 1945. China just needs to sit back and let us shoot ourselves both feet, both legs. And this is the latest example of where, countries around the world are looking at this thinking you are inflicting tremendous economic damage on us. This is what started actually in 2022 with the Biden administration, where in responding to Ukraine, to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, we did not think through what's going to happen with the sanctions, with what happens with food prices and fertilizer prices.
I told y'all, Trump was not thinking strategically at all. Because if so, we would have had a backup plan for the Straits, but let's go.
The rest of the world. And much of the rest of the world looked at that and said, it's a European war. It's not ours. The Biden administration was very surprised. China stepped in, took advantage of what it could sell and what it could buy. And now you really are looking at, a global energy crisis. When you look at what's happening in Asia, China has both a reserve and
And I showed y'all what their reserve tank looked like. I showed you guys that. Let's go.
Is a reckless madman destroying the global order. We stand for stability and sovereignty. No mention of values, or at least not the values that we have often fought for, the human rights, and liberties, but of stability, development, and calm.
You, Senator, helped to spearhead an effort with Senator Kaine.
Listen, Diamond Gang, listen to this. This is Rubio in 2024. I need y'all to listen to what he said in 2024. Let's go.
On a bipartisan basis to prevent any president from unilaterally withdrawing from NATO.
Yes.
Did you write that with Donald Trump in mind? Because he's the only president that I can recall who has ever threatened to withdraw from NATO.
I wrote it. I can't speak for Senator Kaine. I wrote it with the belief that it's an important alliance. If NATO didn't exist, we'd have to create it. It's one of our strategic strengths that we have in the world, because China doesn't have these alliances, for example, and neither do the Russians for that matter, or the Iranians for that matter. But I believe Congress needs to play a role in deciding whether we're going to remove ourselves from that.
What? Congress need to play a role. Well, Trump is talking about cutting ties with NATO. You think he's going to say, okay, come on, Congress? No, he's not. Let's go, Diamond Gang.
That said, I will tell you that despite what people may say is rhetoric, because I acknowledge that Donald Trump does not talk like a member of the Council of Foreign Relations on these issues, he actually increased troop levels in Poland. And I saw them. I was there when that happened.
He was trying to draw down from Germany and rotate into Poland. President Biden reversed that.
And so the point being is that I don't believe Donald Trump will remove us from NATO. I do think he is going to do, admittedly.
Diamond Gang, I need y'all to hit the damn like on this one. He said this back in 2024. Well, guess what? Trump is high. He's considering it. He's threatened them. He has threatened them. I need 15 more likes. I got over 400 people in the room. Could I get 15? Please and thank you. I can't believe this. I got to take this back a little bit, y'all. He said this in 2024, y'all. Hold on. Let's get it.
Strategic strengths that we have in the world, because China doesn't have.
Take it back a little more. Let's go.
Food prices and fertilizer prices for the rest of the world. I gotta hear this
again.
Much of the rest of the world looked at that and said, it's a European war. It's not ours. The Biden administration was very surprised. China stepped in, took advantage of what it could sell and what it could buy. And now you really are looking at, a global energy crisis. When you look at what's happening in Asia.
Thank you. Is it Adonis? I appreciate you. Thank you. Yup, hit that like. Adonis said, hit that like for your girl.
Asia, China has both a reserve and this is a reckless madman destroying the global order. We stand for stability and sovereignty. No mention of values.
Let me tell you guys something. When I put these clips together, I put them together to tell a story. It may be opposing, but over here, you can say what you want to say. I don't, you know what I mean? And this is a safe space, even if it's opposing to my opinion. I just say, just don't be disrespectful. You don't have to agree. I drop the link. I let people come up. I let people sound off. I'm not begging y'all for a cash app. I'm not begging for a super chat or a super sticker. All I'm asking for is a like. It takes time for me to put these together. A lot of time. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Or at least not the values that we have often fought for, the human rights, and liberties, but of stability, development, and calm.
You, Senator, helped to spearhead.
Now let's listen to what he said in 2024. And I told y'all what's going on today.
An effort with Senator Kaine on a bipartisan basis to prevent any president from unilaterally withdrawing from NATO.
Yes.
Did you write that with Donald Trump in mind? Because he's the only president that I can recall who has ever threatened to withdraw from NATO.
I wrote it. I can't speak for Senator Kaine. I wrote it with the belief that it's an important alliance. If NATO didn't exist, we'd have to create it. It's one of our strategic strengths that we have in the world, because China doesn't have these alliances, for example. Well, neither do the Russians, for that matter, or the Iranians, for that matter. But I believe Congress needs to play a role in deciding whether we're going to remove ourselves from that. That said, I will tell you that despite what people may say is rhetoric, because I acknowledge that Donald Trump does not talk like a member of the Council of Foreign Relations on these issues, he actually increased troop levels in Poland, and I saw.
My. And Trump is trying to get away from NATO. Let's go.
I was there when that happened.
He was trying to draw down from Germany and rotate into Poland. President Biden reversed that.
And so the point being is that I don't believe Donald Trump will remove us from NATO. I do think he is going to do, admittedly in an unorthodox way, what virtually every American president has done since the onset of NATO, and that is demand that some NATO countries do more.
Populist leaders in Europe right now are struggling over what.
Okay, we see something different. We see something different with Trump. He is trying to cut ties with NATO. Now we're getting ready to get into what our allies think. And what they have to say. Let's go, Diamond Gang. I need 5 more likes. I love y'all. Thank you.
Whether or not to support Trump's war against Iran. For a number of years, many have backed Donald Trump. They've almost modeled their own campaigns on the MAGA movement. Some have attended conservative conferences like CPAC. In fact, Donald Trump has brought some populist leaders in Europe, such as Reform UK, Nigel Farage, on stage at his rallies. But now they're in a bit of a difficult position. If you're a populist that frames your position as about national sovereignty, as challenging the establishment, not getting involved in adventures across the world, do you support Donald Trump when the actions against Iran could potentially lead to rising energy bills and a cost of living crisis?
Who believed that NATO should have just went in and helped? If you believe that, put a 1 in the chat. If you think that they made the right choice, put a 2 in the chat. I think they made the right choice. At the end of the day, he did not go to them prior to. This is not okay. Let's go.
When many European countries are struggling with energy bills and also a struggling economy already. Or there's another argument. Some people might say that, well, this is actually a populist move. It is bolstering the Western alliance and Western dominance. They see it as a civilizational struggle against Islamic extremism. This is the thing that many of these leaders are having to grapple with.
Trump is a liability for their vote. The more they are associated with him, generally speaking, the more they suffer. You just have to look at Trump's popularity across Europe or anywhere outside the U.S., and it's pretty wrong.
Mind you, prior to the war, he was bullying them. Literally, with the tariffs, just being a bully.
Rock bottom, and even among populist right voters, he's not popular.
We've had populist leaders in Italy, in France, in Germany, including the UK also, saying that it's not right to get involved, putting caution to the wind. But actually, Nigel Farage.
What? EJ, you said NATO should be able to intervene. Nah.
In the UK, first backed the US, saying that it was vital that the UK supported the US in their fight against Iran. But a couple of weeks later, backtracked and changed his mind. I put this question to
why do y'all believe that NATO should be able to intervene? Because the straits wouldn't be closed if we would have continued the negotiations. We were in the 6 rounds. Like, what? Okay.
Him today.
Without America, we are utterly defenseless. Even if we wanted to join.
Yeah. Maybe they should. The way he said that, It's like we're nothing without the U.S. Hey, y'all might be right. Let's go. Oh my God.
Militarily. We haven't got the capability, but I think we should have been supportive from the start. And on the broader point, look, I know lots of people in the MAGA movement. I know lots of members of the cabinet. I've known many of these people for many, many years. I've known Trump for a long time. And over the years, we've agreed on many things. And over the years, we've disagreed quite strongly on others. Ultimately, I want an independent United Kingdom. That's what I fought to leave the European Union for. I want a stronger commercial, cultural, military alliance with America as is possible. But, like cousins, we're not always going to agree.
Donald Trump has spent
He said like cousins. He was desperate. He was like, look, man, we're nothing without the U.S. I feel kind of sad for them. Dang.
quite a bit of time over the last week insulting various NATO countries. Okay, mainly Britain. He's warned the UK today in a post on Truth Social, the US won't be there to help you anymore, just like you weren't there for us. Well, I remember many occasions in the last few decades when Britain has been there for the United States.
Okay, let's listen to what he has to say because he's claiming something different, gang.
For example, in the first Gulf War. For example, in Afghanistan. For example, in Iraq. Britain has been the most reliable ally of the United States of any.
That's an argument right there. That's a tough argument right there. I think the way Trump went about this just turned everybody off. Like you say, we the biggest, the baddest, we don't need you. And then you have a tantrum. Like, this is crazy.
Country in NATO since NATO was formed in 1949. And I don't know about you, but I am getting sick and tired of the abuse that the President of the United States is throwing at our country.
That part, he, even before the war, y'all, he was bullying them. So, yeah.
Britain, Spain, France, and Italy are the latest European allies refusing to help the United States in their operation against Iran.
Yo, did y'all see how Trump was holding his head? Oh, my goodness.
France will not allow the U.S. to fly their military planes carrying supplies over their nation. In a post on Truth Social, President Trump wrote, France has been very unhelpful. The United States of America will remember. Shockingly, Giorgia Meloni's Italy has also denied the U.S. from using their Sigonella airbase in Sicily as part of its ongoing war with Iran. This comes days after Spain confirmed they're blocking U.S. aircrafts linked to the war from entering its airspace.
Did y'all hear that? So a lot of countries is not even allowing them. Like, they're not like, no. I mean, he I don't know.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer also stressed that the United Kingdom will not be dragged into the Iran war.
This is not our war, and we are not going to be dragged into it.
A White House official told Newsweek on Monday that Washington does not need help from Spain or anyone else and described U.S. operations in Iran as meeting or surpassing the administration's goals. Reporting for Newsweek from Washington.
Y'all hear that? That's crazy. Let's go.
I'm Leonardo Feldman.
The conflict in the Middle East has now entered a second month. And while we're working at pace for de-escalation and peace, it is now clear that the impact of this war will affect the future of our country. So today I want...
I don't know, they might be having second thoughts, Diamond Gang. Let's go.
...to reassure the British people that no matter how fierce this storm, we are well placed to weather it. And that we have a long-term plan to emerge from it a stronger and more secure nation. This is not our war. We will not be drawn into the conflict. That is not...
Who knows? Once it de-escalates, who's to say that they can't even go outside of the U.S. and just strike a deal with Iran? Iran just said, listen, if you're not helping the U.S., we'll do business with you. Hey, who knows?
In our national interest. And the most effective way we can support the cost of living in Britain is to push for de-escalation in the Middle East and a reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, which is such a vital route for energy.
We're dealing with a president who is a narcissist and a bully.
Bingo. I just told y'all. He bullying.
And he's been bullying Britain. He's been rude about the armed forces, about our role in Afghanistan. The king is head of the armed forces. And I think a rebuke of some kind is necessary. I don't see that the full panoply of a state banquet and a speech at Congress is a...
Diamond Gang, they said, listen, once the war concludes, we will help you as much as whatever help you need. Trump said we won't need you.
appropriate. I think it's a misuse of the king, who has to do what he's told by the government. But I think it's giving Trump more than he deserves.
Well, this is a video I never wanted to do. An American journalist was...
Diamond Gang, this story was so sad. Now, after we hear about this journalist, we're going to get into the birthright, and then we're going to end it with Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi. I knew she was going to lose that job. Let's go.
Kidnapped in Iraq. Her name is Shelley Kittleson. According to the earliest reports and even some CCTV footage, she was abducted yesterday in central Baghdad on a busy street by
2 days ago, 3 journalists were unalived. They were specifically targeted.
Armed men who appear to have moved her between vehicles during a police chase. Iraqi security forces say they've already arrested 1 suspect and are actively pursuing the rest. American officials believe the group behind this may be tied to an Iran-backed militia, but so far, nobody's claimed responsibility. And right now, there are still a lot of major unknowns. Where she is, who exactly is holding her, and what they want. She's a friend of mine. We used to work together here in Rome.
This story is so sad. I had to bring it to you guys.
I can tell you she's serious, very experienced, and she knows Iraq and all the Middle East very, very well. What I can tell you is Shelley is very careful and very thoughtful. She's the kind of reporter who goes to difficult places to tell stories that matter, regardless of the risks sometimes. And in situations like this, every hour counts. I've already spoken to a hostage.
Diamond Gang, put some prayer hand emojis in the chat for Shelley. Seriously.
Negotiator who tells me that these first 24 hours are crucial. We're all hoping and pushing for her safe return. We simply can't let this story disappear.
We have breaking news right now. A federal judge has just blocked.
Yo, this is what started Trump's rage yesterday. They blocked him for that ballroom, for the whatever he's doing to the White House. This is what started his rampage yesterday, y'all.
The construction of Donald Trump's giant ballroom at the White House until Congress is able to approve the plan to build the ballroom. A stunning loss for the Trump administration and for Donald Trump personally. He's already destroyed the entire East Wing. There's a giant hole in the ground. He cannot do anything. Construction companies cannot move, cannot continue to build that ballroom until Congress approves it or until another...
This dude was building an underground bunker. Like, did he? I don't know.
Court overturns this ruling. Now, that's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. So his ballroom has been delayed, has been paused. It's stopped. Remember, this isn't just a ballroom. This is the also giant military complex that Trump says he is building now underneath the White House. I'll have more updates for you very soon. As always, spread the word.
Then he turns around and goes to the birthright meetings. Let's go.
Updates on my Substack, link in bio. Subscribe for free. Follow along for all the news you need to know about.
The president's plan for a new $400 million ballroom at the White House.
$400 million, Diamond Gang. What the?
Have run into a major legal obstacle. A federal judge ruled yesterday that the project cannot go forward without approval from Congress. That judge wrote the president.
See, that's his problem. He think he could do what he want. They stopped him. They stopped him in his tracks.
The president is the steward of the White House, not the owner.
Ever since tearing down the White House East Wing last...
Diamond Gang, look at that hole. Look at that hole. Like, come on, Trump, stop it.
fall, President Trump can't stop talking about plans for adding a $400 million, roughly 90,000 square foot addition.
They wanted a ballroom here. We're going to have the finest ballroom, I believe, anywhere in the world.
But a federal judge slammed the brakes on the project because, he says, no federal law comes close to giving the president the authority he claims to have, adding
True. Like, people remodel their homes all the time, but they own them. Like, what?
unless Congress approves it, construction has to stop. No surprise, the president disagrees.
We built many things at the White House over the years. They don't get congressional approval when they build in the White House.
Nothing to cost $400 million. He's saying it like it's no goddamn going big deal.
Congress approves money for White House maintenance and landscaping, but Connecticut Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal says
Donald Trump may own a lot of real estate, but he doesn't own the White House. It belongs to people.
Blumenthal and
he should have known as soon as they got a chance to get him back, they was going to do it. They sick of him.
Other Democrats say they're especially concerned about the president's plan to pay for the project with private, mostly corporate donations.
$300 to $400 million are being given by great people that you all know. Rich people, rich
people, yeah, okay, his cronies.
Companies, big companies.
Despite the court ruling, the ballroom plans are set for final approval Thursday from the National Capital Planning Commission, which has to...
Listen, Diamond Gang, at the end of the day, they're not going to leave that hole there. They're going to approve it. I can't see why they wouldn't.
Approve major construction projects in Washington. But D.C. Council Chairman Phil Mendelson, who sits on the panel, worries the president is moving too quickly.
I also get that as a former developer that Donald Trump can be impatient. I have yet to see a project that hasn't benefited from an iterative process from the feedback.
The president said once again Tuesday that underneath the ballroom there's going to be military and medical facilities, but he declined to share any other details. Also wouldn't say, Gail.
Diamond Gang, let me take time out to say thank you to everybody that hit the like. All I was asking for was 100 likes, and I have 117. I really appreciate you guys. I truly do. I work hard on these videos.
Whether or not that part of the project is going to be paid with the private donations or taxpayer funding.
Americans have fought for...
Now let's get into the birthrights. He was livid, y'all. Let's go.
Probably 150, 160 years has been pretty well established. Children born on American soil are American citizens. And now President Trump is...
Listen, Diamond Gang, I'm going to be honest. I don't know how to feel about this. If you feel that if you are born on American soil, you have a right, put a 1 in the chat. If you disagree, put a 2 in the chat.
Challenging that.
We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright, as you know.
That actually is not true. There are...
He got caught in another lie. There are several countries that does this.
At least 33 countries that have birthright citizenship. But Trump argues nonetheless that the U.S. is not one of them. Daniel Epstein is...
Thank you, guys. This is interesting. So I got a couple of 2s and a couple of 1s. I'm going to be honest. I never thought about it until yesterday. And right, it's a birthplace, not heritage. I don't know how to feel about this one. I don't, because the parents may not have a right. And then, boom, they got to, I don't know. I don't know what to say about this.
The vice president of America First Legal, the organization founded by the architect of Trump's immigration policies, Stephen Miller.
An individual who is naturally born in the United States is only considered a citizen if their parents have allegiance to the nation. It is a misdemeanor to come into the United States without authorization. If you're committing a crime to come into the United States, that is strong evidence that you don't meet the traditional notion of allegiance.
The ACLU counters that the 14th Amendment is about children, not parents.
In America, we do.
See, it's about children, not parents. I don't know, y'all. This is a tough one. And we're going to go over a few arguments that they had. Let's go.
Not punish children for the sins of their fathers, but instead we wipe the slate clean. When you're born in this country, we're all Americans, all the same.
The Trump administration will also argue that birthright citizenship raises two other problems: a generic potential threat to national security and the problem of so-called birth tourism. The numbers are really a tiny fraction of births in the United States.
I view just one illegal act as illegal, and birth tourism is illegal, and the law matters.
So you may wonder, what happens if the court finds in favor of the Trump administration? The ACLU argues that the consequences would be dire.
Every month, tens of thousands of US-born babies will be stripped of their citizenship. They may be stateless because...
That's insane. That's insane, but let's go.
As their parents' country of nationality may not consider them to be citizens. And so you'll see
So it's like, where would they go? Where would they go if they couldn't go to the country of the parents? Like, this is crazy. Just in limbo? I don't get it.
permanent underclass of people who have no nationality.
Daniel Epstein counters that those are issues in need of policy solutions.
The policy problem needs a legislative solution, not for the courts to kind of put their thumb on the scale as to how to resolve what likely is going to be a political challenge.
In a related case last year, Justice Brett Kavanaugh asked at an oral argument, how would a hospital know that the parents of a child are illegal?
That part too, they wouldn't know. I mean, what are they going to start asking for? Oh, you getting ready to have your baby? I need to see identification. Like, what?
In the country. What would hospitals do with a newborn? What would states do? The answer from Trump's Solicitor General? Federal officials will have to figure that out.
The president said late yesterday that he planned to attend these arguments. As you said, he would be the first president in modern history to go to a Supreme Court argument. He'll probably be seated in that front row of the
Listen, it did not go in his favor, and he walked out. We're going to get into it. He had a bad day yesterday.
the public section directly facing the justices. There's no special seat for the president for oral arguments. And like the rest of us, he won't have access to any electronics. You got to leave those cell phones outside when you're in the courtroom. But of course, you know, President Trump has.
For him to appear, he had to feel strong about this. He felt very strong about this.
Been sharply critical of the justices, including two of the three that he appointed in his first term. But he's going to have to let his lawyers do the talking in court today as they try to defend his executive order that would really redefine how we think of citizenship and that long held understanding that if you're born on U.S. soil, you're a U.S. citizen. They're going to argue that the 14th Amendment was adopted to grant citizenship to former slaves and their descendants and not to the children of undocumented immigrants who entered this country illegally. Now, I would expect these arguments to run 2, possibly 3 hours, and we should have a decision in this case by the end of June.
Do you think Native Americans?
Okay, here is this is Trump's lawyer, okay? He refuses to acknowledge Native Americans are birthright citizens. That's insane. This is insane.
Today are birthright citizens under your test and under your friend's test?
I think so. I mean, obviously they've been granted citizenship by statute.
Put aside the statute. Do you think they're birthright citizens?
No, I think the clear understanding that
Now that I'm not gonna lie, I believe that they are.
everybody agrees in the congressional debates is that the children of tribal Indians are not birthright
I
citizens.
understand that's what they said, but your test is the domicile of the parents. And that would be the test you'd have us apply today, right?
Yes, yes. So if a tribal Indian, for example, gives up allegiance to...
Born today, birthright citizens.
I think so on our test, yeah. If they're lawfully domiciled here.
Okay.
And then, I'm not sure, I have to think that through, but that's my reaction.
I'll take the yes, that's all right.
How does this work? Are you suggesting that when a baby is born, people have to have documents, present documents? Is this happening in the delivery room? How are we determining?
This is the part where it's going to get super sticky, and yeah, that's crazy.
When or whether a newborn child is a citizen of the United States under your rule?
I can see more women having babies at home if this happens, I can see it. Let's go.
And I think that's directly addressed in the SSA guidance that's cited in our brief. What SSA says is there's currently a system where, for example, social security numbers are generated.
I do not like his ashy voice. I'm sorry, y'all, but I had to get these arguments.
Based on the birth certificate, they say this can still be, for the vast majority of instances, completely transparent. You will still get a...
No, not transparent. I'm just talking about the particulars, because now you say your rule turns on whether the person intended to stay in the United States. And I think Justice Barrett brought this up. So we bringing pregnant women in for depositions. What are we doing to figure this out?
No, as I pointed out earlier, the executive order turns on lawfulness of status. So if you give birth to a baby in the hospital right now, it gets the birth certificate in the system. There's a computer system.
So there's no opportunity. There's apparently no opportunity then for the person to prove or to say that they actually intended to stay in the United States.
Absolutely not. The opposite is true. Their opportunity to dispute if they think they were wrongly denied, which would only happen in a tiny minority of cases,
after the
is
fact.
directly addressed in that guidance.
After the fact.
Yeah.
Diamond Gang, this is when Trump got up and rolled. Let's go.
After their baby has been denied citizenship, then we can go through the process.
Yes. And the way that, I mean, I'm summarizing because I'm not an expert in computers, but there's a computer program that currently automatically generates a social security number. SSA says, look, a social security number.
That's too much. This is too much, but okay.
Non-citizens can have them if they have work authorization, so it doesn't prove citizenship. We'll give you a social security number, provided that the system automatically checks the immigration status of the parents, which there are robust databases for, and then it appears no different to the vast majority of birthing parents.
You mentioned it.
So it's going to be like an ICE crackdown at the hospital, right? Like,
in your briefing and also this morning, the problem of birth tourism. Do you have any information about how common that is?
I agree. The indigenous and native community can't be lumped in with this group. I agree, EJ. I agree. Let's go.
Or how significant a problem it is?
It's a great question. No one knows for sure. There's a March 9th letter from a number of members of Congress to DHS saying, do we have any information about this? The media reports indicate estimates could be over 1 million or 1.5 million from the People's Republic of China alone. The congressional report that we cite in our brief talks about certain hotspots like Russian elites coming to Miami through these birth tourism companies.
This is crazy. Let's go.
And I mean, here's the facts about it that I think is striking. Media reported as early as 2015 that based on Chinese media reports, there are 500 birth tourism companies in the People's Republic of China whose business is to bring people here to give birth and return to that nation.
I had no idea. I was not aware of this right here, y'all.
Having said all that, you do agree that that has no impact on the legal analysis before us?
I think it's, I quote what Justice Scalia said in his Hamdan dissent, where their interpretation has these implications that could not possibly have been approved by the 19th century framers of this amendment. I think that shows that they've made a mess. Their interpretation has made a mess of the provision.
Well, it certainly wasn't a problem in the 19th century.
No, but of course, we're in a new world now, as Justice Alito pointed out to, where 8 billion people are one plane ride away from having a child who's a U.S. citizen.
Well, it's a new world. It's the same Constitution.
Listen, I mean, I'm pretty sure that they are, but I've never witnessed this. People, I've heard of it. Let's just say that. I've heard of it.
It is, and as Justice Scalia said, I think in the case that Justice Alito was referring to, you've got a constitutional provision that addresses certain evils and it should be extended to reasonably comparable evils. He said that about statutory interpretation. I think the same principle applies here. And I think
like people legit flying here and having babies. I guess.
Put that in our brief.
Thank you.
I just got out of the Supreme Court where I had a front row seat to the high stakes oral arguments over President Trump's birthright citizenship order. Here's what I saw. This was the first known example of a sitting U.S. president attending an argument. Several justices expressed skepticism.
Trump felt strong about this.
About the administration's arguments around the president's executive order, which seeks to end automatic birthright citizenship for babies born in the U.S. to unauthorized immigrants or people living here temporarily. President Trump sat alongside Attorney General Pam.
Yo, y'all, this was her last day. Listen, Pam Bondi, but she knew because the rumors was flying around yesterday. I made this video early day all the way up until late last night. And then it was just too late for me to go live.
Bombay and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, among others. The president was highly attentive in the opening moments of the hearing. President Trump rarely smiled, and at times, his eyes wandered across the room. A little over an hour later, President Trump left the hearing. Outside the courthouse, demonstrators gathered in support of the ACLU as the DJ played artists like Bad Bunny and Bruce Springsteen. And that was my day at the Supreme Court, which is expected to release its decision on the birthright order by the end of June.
We have some breaking updates regarding the Supreme Court's oral arguments on birthright citizenship. Donald Trump has left early, according to photojournalists inside the courtroom. He has left in the middle of oral arguments that are not going well for his position so far.
I told you guys it wasn't looking too good. He had a super bad day.
You have liberal justices and conservative justices right now peppering the Solicitor General of the United States, seeming very skeptical of Donald Trump's position that if you're born to two undocumented parents, you're not a citizen. For perspective, Marco Rubio, the current Secretary of State, would not have gotten birthright citizenship as his parents were not documented.
What? I didn't see this part. So Rubio, his parents were undocumented. That's crazy.
At the time that he was born. And so right now in the Supreme Court, these oral arguments are really bad. You have Gorsuch, Barrett, Roberts, three conservative justices, and even Kavanaugh, all skeptical of Trump's arguments. That's more than enough to overturn it. But Trump has already left. He has ditched the Supreme Court in the middle of oral argument. I'll have more update for you soon. Subscribe to my Substack, link in bio to support. Follow for more.
United States Supreme Court hearing arguments for and against what's called birthright citizenship. By the way, we're told the president of the United States, President Trump, has just left the Supreme Court, heading back in his motorcade to the White House. He was there when John Sauer, the Solicitor General, was making.
I wonder what Rubio had to say about this, y'all. Let's go. Pam Bondi up next.
His case against birthright citizenship, but now Cecilia Wang, the legal director of the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, is making the opposite case against the Trump administration. Trump has gone back to the White House, isn't hearing this part, at least not in person. We're going to continue.
We have some news right now.
Okay, let's go.
Donald Trump is furious following this morning's Supreme Court.
Of course, he took it to the website. He had to make a post.
Court arguments on his birthright citizenship executive order. He's furious because the justices, even some of those he appointed, many of the conservative justices, did not seem to agree with his attorney's argument that essentially an individual born to two undocumented parents does not enjoy birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment, when in reality they do. This is what he posted after walking out of the courtroom halfway through oral arguments. Quote, "We are the only country in the world stupid enough to allow birthright citizenship." President Donald J.
He said we are the only country. I just proved to y'all that's a lie. There are multiple countries that go by this. He got to grow up.
Trump. It is pretty clear that the president knows kind of the writing is on the wall here. As an attorney, I listened to the entire oral argument. If I had to guess, it's going to be a 7-2 decision against Trump, potentially even 9-0, although that would require Alito and Thomas.
Bingo, y'all got y'all answer. We don't have to wait until June
to kind of get on board, which I don't know that they will. But he knows he's not going to win this oral argument. He knows his executive order is not going to stand, and he seems to be lashing out ahead of tonight's address to the nation. As always, spread the word. Follow for more.
This man had so much bad luck yesterday, it's insane.
Trump just told Erica Kirk that she should sue Drewski over his parody video.
I forgot I got this. Wait a minute. Diamond Gang. I had to put this in here. For the people that seen the skit that Drewski did, okay? He never said his name was Erica, but okay. He did a parody. Who believes that Erica Kirk should sue Drewski? He took time out to tell Erica Kirk to sue Drewski.
And others who have made fun of her. Just watch.
That doesn't want on now, darling. Wow, this is a good table. I like that table. You're doing well, right? Okay. I think you should sue him, but, you know, I told her, you ought to sue somebody. They're so jealous.
We just went over that, but I'll get the answer for you, Steve. Hold on.
America. I said, you ought to sue their... I can say you're not allowed to say this. You have to be nicer. Sue their ass off.
Yeah, the free speech party in action. If you engage in protected speech and make fun of one of their commentators or high-ranking officials in the Republican Party, well, Donald Trump thinks you should just sue them for fun. I mean, I can't believe I have to say this, but for the Republicans at home, there was nothing illegal about Drewski's video, very much protected by the First Amendment. And if you have a problem with it, well, you little snowflakes can cry in your safe space. It's also highly inappropriate that the president, who is supposed to be a public servant,
More than 30 countries around the world offer some form of birthright citizenship, but unrestricted just solace, is mostly found in the Americans. Here's a breakdown. So let's see. Most are in North, Central, and South America. United States, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, Pakistan. Is that enough for you? Tanzania. Is that enough for you, Steve? Those are the countries, boo. Let's go.
is advocating for one private citizen to sue another, and he's like taking a side in that beef. But these are the things we just expect from Donald Trump.
Oh, a couple more. Europe, Asia, Africa. Okay, let's go. I proved my point.
These days.
We have some news right now. Donald Trump just said the quiet part out loud, speaking to a group of folks at the White House. He says, we're a big country. We're fighting multiple wars. We can't take care of daycare, Medicaid, Medicare. That's a direct quote from the president of the United States, who is speaking tonight. And ahead of his speech to the nation tonight, he's saying that his speech tonight will be about how, quote, great I am, referring to Donald Trump himself. He's saying that the United States can't do everything from Medicaid to Medicare because we're fighting these wars. And then he proceeded to tell Eric Kirk to sue Drewski, the person who made that parody video that has gone more viral than pretty much any video Turning Point USA has ever had, or Erica Kirk has ever had, and has enraged.
Put a 1 in the chat if you think she should sue Drewski. Put a 2 if it's just comedy. That's how I see it. Drewski is hilarious.
Republicans. So that's where the president's focus is right now, ahead of a consequential speech where he's expected to try to seek an off-ramp to this war in Iran, try to end the war in Iran. But at least right now, that's not what he's focused on. As always, spread the word. Follow one stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. I'll have another update for you very soon.
All right, Diamond Gang, we getting ready to get into Pam Bondi. After this, I will close out, take a couple of comments. I have to bring up another video. Let's go.
Right now, Pam Bondi might be on the chopping block soon. According to the New York Times, Donald Trump has privately discussed firing Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States.
So they announced this yesterday. So she had a clue. She had a clue.
United States of America. And who would he replace her with? Lee Zeldin, the current administrator for the Environmental Protection Agency. Pam Bondi has been under significant...
I hope Pam Bondi tell everything. I've showed you guys when I did an update on Epstein, I showed you years of cover-ups with Pam and Trump. She's been helping Trump for a very long time, a very long time.
Significant fire during her tenure as Attorney General. And honestly, a lot of people thought at the beginning she may last all 4 years. But at least privately right now, Trump is now mulling the possibility of removing Bondi because he is not happy with the negative coverage around the Epstein files and other things at the department.
That's messed up because she did that to protect him. She did all of that to protect him. I hope she tells.
Of Justice just isn't going as fast on certain issues as he wants the DOJ to do. Now, remember, Kristi Noem, it all started with this anonymous, oh, he's considering firing her. He's considering firing her. Next thing you knew, a few months later, she was out of a job. Pam Bondi looks to be next. I'll have more updates for you soon. As always, follow along, stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. More to come soon.
Our sources are telling us here at CNN that President Trump has privately mused about firing his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, and
you guys that know I like to take it from the beginning. So she was crying, begging for her job. I want to show you guys that.
Replacing her with the EPA administrator, a longtime loyalist of his, Lee Zeldin. This is something that the president has been talking about in recent days, but it first actually arose back in January when the president was frustrated by the backlash that his administration was getting over its handling of the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. And it's started to be discussed again inside the West Wing in the last few days. days, as Pam Bondi is now staring down about a 2-week deadline before she's supposed to go and testify in accordance with that subpoena that she got on Capitol Hill for their investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. Now, it's not clear if the president has made a final decision about firing Pam Bondi. She was actually seen riding with him in his motorcade on Wednesday as he went to the Supreme Court for those hearings. And he did tell
probably had a talk with her. He probably did.
Tell us in a statement tonight that Pam Bondi is a good person and that he thought she was doing a good job. But we're told he's not only frustrated about the backlash they've gotten over the Epstein files, he's also privately fumed about the idea that she hasn't gone after enough of his political opponents that he wants to see DOJ investigations into. Now, it remains to be seen if this ultimately happens, if the president fires her, if he does replace her with Lee Zeldin. That's been the top name that we're told that he's discussed. And of course, she does have a longtime ally inside the West Wing still. That's Susie Wiles, the chief of staff. Both of them are from Florida, have known each other for decades. But of course, it was also Susie Wiles who acknowledged in that Vanity Fair interview that she did a few months ago that Pam Bondi had completely whiffed on the handling of the Epstein investigation.
But here's the thing, and let me bring up my other video. Here's the thing. He was trying to weaponize her against his enemies. Just like if his enemies didn't agree, he wanted Pam to go after them. That's not what's up. That's not, you know what I mean? That's not cool. All right, I'm going to pull up this second video, and I hope that I have it. Hold on. Let me put it on my list. Hold on, gang. So, I mean, I don't know. Hold on, y'all. Let me bring up this second video. They said Pam was totally upset, crying. I hope it's on my playlist. I'm pretty sure it is. Oh, shoot. Hold on, gang. Let me go back. Yeah, I think it's on this one. Here we go. All right, let me bring up my second video, y'all. This is crazy. Like, she was literally in there begging.
We have breaking news this morning. President Donald Trump has informed Attorney General Pam Bondi that her time as Attorney General of the United States is coming to an end. Semaphore has confirmed
She was literally in there, y'all, begging for her job. Begging for it. All right, let's go.
Bondi is in the know that Donald Trump is actively seeking out replacements from his advisors. One such replacement that's been floating around is EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, who was previously a congressman, ran for governor of New York, now serves as Trump's EPA administrator. Pam Bondi has been the subject of a lot of public backlash over her handling of the Epstein files, among other things, in the Justice Department. And it looks as though one of Donald Trump's staunchest allies in his cabinet, Pam Bondi, who has stuck with him through everything.
And when he say stuck with him through everything, that is the truth. She's covered up a lot of stuff for him.
Looks like she is going to be leaving soon as Attorney General. Now, the formal announcement hasn't been made, and he could very well change his mind. But he has, at least according to Semaphore, informed her that her time as the AG is coming to an end soon. I'll have more updates for you soon. Follow along, stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. There'll be more soon.
New details have emerged over the firing of Pam Bondi, and we are learning that she was in Trump's office yesterday begging him to keep her job. Can you imagine groveling to Trump to keep your job?
This is messed up. I mean, I told you guys that she was going to lose her job when Kristi Noem lost her job. I said Pam Bondi's next, Patel's next. But I feel bad for her because she did all of this protecting him.
Job. Well, he wasn't having it, and I guess the final straw was that she supposedly leaked information about the FBI set to release investigative documents about an investigation into an alleged Chinese spy who was linked to Eric Swalwell. Now, I can tell you about this. Eric Swalwell was briefed in 2014 by the FBI that this woman, Christine.
So y'all hear that? They said she leaked documents. Now, Diamond Gang, I made that video, the first video, yesterday. I didn't get to really sit down and watch this second part.
Vane was an alleged Chinese spy. As soon as he learned about that, he cut off all ties to her. And their involvement, as far as we know, was she was helping fundraise for his campaign then. But as soon as he learned about this, that was it. So, of course, when he learned that someone might be a spy, a Chinese spy, he cut off ties. So they're trying to smear Eric Swalwell now, who is running for the governor of California, who is leading the race right now. Someone who has been defeating Trump in court, and someone who has been a major critic of Trump and called him out continuously. So he's attacking his political enemies, and apparently Pam Bondi tipped off Eric Swalwell of this release that may be coming.
Wow. Did y'all hear that? I got to run this back. What? She went against him and tipped that man off. Trump is probably furious, y'all. Let me go back just a little bit. Oh my God. Let's go.
FBI that this woman, Christine Vane, was an alleged Chinese spy. As soon as he learned about that, he cut off all ties to her. And their involvement, as far as we know, was she was helping fundraise for his campaign then. But as soon as he learned about this, that was it. So, of course, when he learned that someone might be a spy, a Chinese spy, he cut off ties. So they're trying to smear Eric Swalwell now, who is running for the governor of California, who is leading the race right now. Someone who has been defeating Trump in court, and someone who has been a major critic of Trump and called him out continuously. So he's attacking his political enemies, and apparently Pam Bondi tipped off Eric Swalwell of this.
Diamond Gang, y'all heard it here. Pam Bondi tipped him off.
Release that may be coming. Not sure why she did that, but Trump is furious over it. He's furious how she handled Epstein, and people are speculating that he did this to try and prevent her from coming and testifying to Congress about.
No, because here's the thing. They said she still may have to testify. That's not, I don't know, y'all. This is some mess. Let's go.
The Epstein files release. Well, according to Caitlin Collins, here, that's not going to happen. She's still going to have to come in and testify. Robert Garcia says this does not absolve her of coming in and providing testimony. She still has to do that, even though she's not the attorney general. She could be held in criminal contempt if she does not comply. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. Like, share, spread the word, follow, subscribe.
Wow, Diamond Gang.
And I'll see you back here for the 411.
How much of this had to do with her not aggressively investigating his political foes?
Jerika, our sources say that that is one of the things that frustrated President Trump, the fact that many of the investigations and prosecutions that he has made it very clear he wants to see.
You know why he's mad? Because she made mistakes, and every document with his name on it was not redacted. That one part, that to that 4-part interview with that woman that he was co-defendant with Jeffrey Epstein on that case, one of the interviews was released. Then when it was caught, they put pressure on her to release all 4 pieces. This is what this is about. And remember, the Epstein, what is it? The Epstein, I can't even think of it. There was a fund put away for the survivors for lawsuits paid out to that victim where Trump and Epstein were co-defendants. And I went over this. You guys got to go back and watch my Epstein videos. Let's go.
DOJ pursue haven't really gone anywhere. In some cases, that's not for a lack of trying, that's not for a lack of seeking indictments, but simply because the cases themselves haven't been very strong, according to the judges who have looked at them. But President Trump, we're told, was also frustrated by her handling of the Epstein case, which has really loomed large.
She leaked that one interview. She leaked that interview on that 14-year-old girl.
Ever since the start of his presidency. And so what we are told by multiple sources, Jerika, is that she will be leaving her post. She has been informed that
she didn't cover up good enough for Trump. So he got her. He got her. Because guess what? Once we stand down and he call it, he's going to have to come right back to that Epstein file BS.
He will no longer be Attorney General. We've also heard that at least temporarily, the job will be taken over by her number two, the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who was President Trump's lead defense attorney in his hush money trial. So someone who has also proven to be very loyal to the President of the United States. But there have been.
Please, Diamond Gang, keep hitting that like. Please keep hitting that like. If you would like to support the channel with the super chat, super sticker, you can. My Cash App is pinned. Thank you in advance. Let's go.
Other names floated as possible long-term Attorney General cabinet members that would have to, of course, go through the confirmation process. And the name we hear the most is Lee Zeldin, who is a former congressman from New York and currently is the administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency.
We have some big news right now. Pam Bondi reportedly begged in the White House yesterday to keep her job as Attorney General of the United States, and Donald Trump was not having it. That's according to new reporting from the Daily Mail.
Can you imagine being someone's biggest cheerleader, and to get axed?
Now, a lot of questions are remaining. Why did Pam Bondi get fired? And a lot of people are speculating it's because of April 14th deadline, where she would have to testify in front of the House Oversight Committee on the handling of the Epstein files. Well, members of Congress are saying just because you're fired doesn't mean you're absolved of having to testify. They are still.
I'm hoping he's not thinking that way, because if he did, he made the biggest mistake, because she might talk her butt off.
Pushing to have her testify. And there is a bipartisan lawful congressional subpoena issued to her. She's going to have to testify even if she's not Attorney General. That's what members of Congress are saying right now. Now, according to reports, the reason why she was ultimately fired is because apparently she may have leaked to.
Let me tell you guys, the survivors that was in Florida at the time she was the district attorney, they are thinking, and there was hundreds, they are they're getting ready to push a lawsuit against her. And I went over that too in my Epstein video. They're getting a case because she refused to investigate.
Eric Swalwell about an investigation that FBI Kash Patel was looking into. So that's where we're at right now.
Bingo. Kash is next. Mark my words, Kash Patel is next.
Now, I know the Dow Jones is sending Pam Bondi thoughts and prayers today. I'll have another update for you soon.
Pam Bondi was just fired because of her cover-up of the Epstein files. Thomas Massey and I have been calling for accountability for Bondi for months. Now we need to fight to make sure that another lawless sycophant doesn't replace Bondi. Whoever replaces Bondi should release all of the Epstein files and prosecute the rich and powerful men who abused young girls.
We have some big
All right, I'm going to stop it right here. I think this is
news right now. Donald Trump may not be done firing cabinet members and top officials in his
Let's listen to this and then I'm going to cut it.
executive. Tulsi Gabbard might be next, and
Boom.
that firing might be
Tulsi Gabbard might be next.
coming soon. The Guardian is now reporting that Donald Trump is privately questioning advisors and polling them on whether or not he should keep Tulsi Gabbard as director of national intelligence, and essentially who he might pick to replace her. Advisors have been warning him, do not remove her as the head of DNI, because that would create a major gap in America's intelligence community.
This Tulsi Gabbard, she messed up. I seen her on the stand. She did the same thing Pam Bondi did, same thing as Kristi Noem. She danced around those answers. She did not do well. She did not do well. She's going to be before Patel, and Patel will be last.
But he's not happy. He's not happy after she essentially shielded Joe Kent, the former chief counterterrorism officer.
Oh, I still got more. I'm going to play oh no, I thought I was at 170. I'm only at 134. I was going to say, can y'all get me to 150 likes, Diamond Gang? Let's go.
Who resigned in protest of Iran. He's not happy with the way that she differs with him on certain issues, him being Trump and her being Gabbard. So Tulsi Gabbard might be next. And I will say, I think people need to realize Kristi Noem, Pam Bondi.
Listen, Tulsi refused to say if there was a threat. She didn't say yes or no. She refused to answer that question. I watched it. I played it on my live stream. She did not do well.
Maybe Tulsi Gabbard, what do they have in common? They're all women. He's not firing male cabinet officials. He's going after women in his cabinet. Spread the word. Follow for more.
The CBS News national security analyst Aaron McClain, a
All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop it right there. Let me see.
U.S. Marine veteran and a former foreign policy advisor on.
Let me take a look. Where we at? We 2 hours in yet? I'm pretty sure we are. Oh, yeah, we are over 2 hours. I'm going to go ahead and rock out a little bit more, Diamond Gang. Let's go. I still got updates. Let's go.
Capitol Hill. Good morning, Aaron. I got to ask you, the president talking about overwhelming victory, about obliterating Iran's military, but he also talked about 2 to 3 more weeks of war, of attacking Iran's energy sector. What did you make of that speech?
Hey, good morning. I mean, if you go back to the matrix of objectives that the president and others in this administration laid out at the start of this campaign about a month ago, you can kind of go through it and give them grades. The Iranian Navy, I think our military is doing pretty well. The Iranian Navy is largely at the bottom of the sea or has holes in the sides of its boats.
Okay, so we did that. The Navy, we crushed them. Let's go.
The missile program has been massively degraded, but it's here where you start to get slightly more moderate grades.
Missile program. Okay, let's go.
Right? They retain the capacity to harass their neighbors pretty significantly day to day. There's a pretty big salvo fired at Israel and other countries just in the last 24 hours. The nuclear program, President's spoken repeatedly about the nuclear program. Not a lot of military action directly connected to the military program thus far, and it's unclear exactly what the status of that goal is going to be going forward. And then, of course, I think the biggest thing that's on everyone's minds, and we just referred to it in that good report there, is the Iranians have played the major card that was available to them, which is the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which is having a massive economic.
So there we go. No uranium in the straits is closed. What do we do?
Economic impact, and at some point it's going to have to be dealt with.
All right, so let's talk about that major playing card. The president started speaking. Oil prices were down. By the end of the speech, oil prices were up. The president talked about somehow naturally opening the Straits of Hormuz. We are all obviously concerned about
naturally opening the Straits of Hormuz. How are we going to do that?
Gas prices. So how does the president open up the Straits of Hormuz naturally?
Yeah, so there were a series of comments through the speech. The first was he basically said the Strait of Hormuz is not America's problem because we don't.
But here's the thing, Diamond Gang, and I went over this 2 days ago. Let's say we stand down, we walk away, okay? Nobody is going to trust going through the straits because it's still going to be very dangerous. So it's still going to crush our economy. Either way it goes. If we put boots on the ground, or if we walk away, we're still going to be hurting bad. Nobody's going to go in there.
Buy our oil from there, which.
Sorry, nobody's going to go straight through that right away.
Well, technically true. Of course, there's a global finite supply of any commodity. So if there's lots of the supply, the price still goes up in America. He said that our allies should go in. They should take their oil. They should cherish it, I think were his exact words. That was another comment. But then he said, don't worry, it's naturally going to open up, which I think implies that his principal objective remains a deal at which point the Iranians will open it up or perhaps some form of regime change.
They can open it up all they want to. People are going to be skeptical. The trust will not be there. So it's going to be still very dangerous to where people's not going to go.
Where they no longer harass it. You can see that I think he's aware of the difficulty of a military campaign to open the street.
Sorry, guys, or should I say countries? I said people, countries won't go.
It's been done before. The United States did it in the 1980s, but it's potentially protracted as a military operation. The president promised the American people a 4 to 6 week war.
And we're already over 4 weeks into it. All right, Aaron McClain, thank you very much. Speaking in a primetime address to the nation, the president defended his decision to attack Iran and said the U.S. military needs more time.
Thank you very much. I've made clear from the beginning.
I told you, gang, he didn't say much or nothing. It's still going on. Let's go.
Of Operation Epic Fury that we will continue until our objectives are fully achieved. Thanks to the progress we've made, I can say tonight that we are on track to complete all of America's military objectives shortly, very shortly. We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to.
Does that sound like negotiations to you? We're going to hit them extremely hard. How are you negotiating with someone that you plan on hitting very hard?
3 weeks. We're going to bring them back.
CBS News chief Washington analyst Robert Costa has been talking to sources close to the president. Bob, good morning. So the president gives an address, kind of address that most presidents give before the start of the war. Now he's doing it a month into the war. Did it tell you anything about what I think most Americans want to know about? Will we see boots on the ground in Iran?
Good morning. It tells you a lot about.
Let me tell y'all, he didn't bring them over there for nothing. I'm hoping, but I don't see it that way.
This moment and President Trump, he is.
Please, Diamond Gang, could I get 6 more likes? 6 more likes will take me to 150 and I'll be proud.
Exerting executive power, as we've seen from many presidents in both parties over the past quarter century. When it comes to war powers, he's not taking the case to Congress before a military conflict. He's speaking to the nation in the middle.
Let me tell you something. If he plans on going back over there, Congress is going to give him hell. He said, if we got to go back, we'll go back at a later time. They're going to give him hell. He better do what he got to do now.
Of conflict. And you see a real aggressive approach right now from President Trump. There's no signal that he wants to wind this down in any way or use ground troops. It's really about how he navigates so many issues, trying to get toward a deal. And he wants to leave a lot of options on the table.
I'm curious, you have many sources. What are your sources telling you about how they're feeling or thinking about his remarks? And you've talked to the president himself. But first, let's hear what the sources are saying to you.
Thank you, Diamond Gang. I just need 1 more like. Thank you.
Well, those around President Trump say privately, he's a lot like he is publicly, Gail, that he is confident that they've depleted many of the military assets of the Iranian government. And at this point, it's a question of when.
Diamond Gang, I just showed you a video where they still firing hard. They are still coming at Israel. Vice versa.
They, at some level, start to get out, but they want to make sure the situation's stable in terms of the economic reality, the Strait of Hormuz, and they want to make sure that the Iranians are not going to threaten U.S. targets or allied targets in any way.
So how does that part? So how are you going to do that? Okay, we spend a couple of weeks over there. How are you going to make sure? We're going to be over there. That's just it in a nutshell, y'all. We are going to be over there.
How does he view this war, Bob, and how is he balancing it with public opinion? Because right now the public opinion is not on his side on this.
I've spoken to him about this. He does not perceive his foreign policy as some kind of muscular nation building approach, even though he took that action in Venezuela. He's considering action in Cuba. He took this military conflict to Iran. He is someone who views the world through perceived threats to the United States. And he's looking at the threat of a nuclear power, a nuclear weapon from Iran. And he wants to, in a sense, check that box to make sure that he addresses it as president.
All right, Bob, thank you. Always good to see you.
President Trump has been telling reporters that he.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there. We already went over the NATO deal and how he feels about NATO. He wants to get rid of, he wants to withdraw. I don't think that he should, but like I said, I feel the same way I felt when we first started. He should have consulted our allies first prior to. That's it. That's all. That is it, and that's all. But let me take a look at some of these comments. And I'm gonna go ahead and close out. Okay, let's take a look. You said these newscasters ignore the possibility of nuclear holocaust. Your podcast is really good and on point. I love you. I thank you. I appreciate you. I take so much time out my day to put these clips together, to tell a story, to narrate it to you guys. Okay. Yeah, I may not be politically correct. I tell the story the best way I know how. Okay. And I try to get you guys to see my story. And I'm okay with you guys having an opposing opinion. You just can't be disrespectful. I'm passionate about things, but I don't mean any harm at all. I don't. Let's take a look. He's protecting the entire world. Who is this female idiot commenting? What? Who are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about me. See, this is what I'm saying. You just can't be disrespectful. You can say what you want without being disrespectful. We're adults. We know how to use our words, right? Right. Someone said, get him, Mr. President. If the Iranian Navy is gone, how is Iran able to close a waterway so effectively? Exactly. Exactly. This is what I'm saying. Yep. Double tap that screen. Hit that like. Somebody said the wheels on the bus go round and round. Donald Trump has run them down. Okay. Okay. You don't cross. Dad, woo. You making your point across. Okay, you said you don't cross the king of petty and stick around. Teflon Dawn, more like Taco Dawn. Hey, yo, this is the best part. This is the best part, the comments. Let's see. Bondi covered his orange. She did. She did cover him. I feel bad for her. I do. We knew Bondi was gone weeks ago. We sure did, didn't I, call it? Oh, spill all the tea. Listen, if you're new here, welcome. Please subscribe to the channel. Please think about becoming a member. I'm so ready to start my members only live. We could kick back in there and be a little more loose in there. Okay? So please, if you're new here, welcome. Subscribe, turn your notifications on. I try to go live at least once a day or in the evening. Okay? But I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. I normally like to only do an hour and a half. We are at 2.5 hours, Diamond Gang. 2.5 hours. So I want to say shouts out to everyone that showed up, showed out. Shouts out to my beautiful mods. And make sure you guys keep those notifications on. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. You guys, please have a good night and be safe. And I'll be live tomorrow.
It's 100 degrees. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling his tea, spilling and sipping his tea, spilling and sipping his tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your 100 degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping 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 this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your 100 degrees, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea.